Hey guys, my name is Tessa, and today we're going to be fighting desk job back pain with power yoga. So let's go ahead and start with a forward bend, always a good place to start in any session. So go ahead and separate your feet wide apart, and you want your feet underneath your wrists. It can even be a little bit wider if your back is especially tight. So you can use your mat to place your feet in the right position. So you want the outsides of your feet parallel. It's gonna just provide a safe placement for your back as we bend forward. So really root down through your feet. So you wanna feel balanced through each foot, rooting down below the big toe, below the little toe and center of the heel. And really being present in your feet is important as you bend forward. So just bending forward, and you don't want to bring too much weight into the front part of the foot. You want to stay rooted in your heel too. And if your legs feel really tight, you might need to stop here. It doesn't matter where you are. You can place your hands on your legs if you'd like, or just hold them. So coming down into this wide leg forward bend, you're just gonna bring your chest down, and we're gonna start by lengthening our spine. So you can just release your arms if you were holding them. And wherever you're at, you wanna create that length in your spine by opening your chest and staying present in your feet. Feel that strength in your thighs. And you want just a soft bend. It's not even a bend. You just want to feel a softness in your knees as you lift your thighs. So feeling that nice long spine. And part of back stiffness is the legs being tight. And when you sit a lot, your legs obviously get really tight. So just bringing that chest down from that half bend. And the traditional position in this forward bend is fingertips in line with toe tips. You can just find a spot that you'd like to work. If your legs are really tight, if you want more of a challenge, you're gonna go ahead and just bring your head down to the floor eventually, really keeping your palms planted. So anywhere that you're at, you're doing the same thing. So stay rooted through your feet. The whole point of this is to let the hamstrings and calves release so that the back can relax a little bit more to start. So as you come down, if your goal is to get your head to the floor, what you need to remember is to stay present in your feet. And it's like you're pushing the floor or the mat away from you to get further down. And that gives you leverage. And even that act of pressing, it creates a deeper stretch in your hamstrings and your calves. If you're here, if you're all the way down to the floor, it's all the same thing. And just take a few breaths wherever you're at, really just getting into that deep part of the hamstring and the calf. And if you start to feel pulling in your knee or your back, you need to back up. And then half, just lifting your thighs, pressing your feet to come out. And the key in any forward bend is you're always using your legs to go in and go out. If you just whip back up, you could hurt yourself more than help yourself doing yoga. So it's good to take your time. So stepping the feet together, our legs are nice and warmed up. And let's do one more forward bend. So not quite as far apart with the feet. So feet are a little bit distanced than hip width apart. So rooting down through your feet and lifting through your chest. So you don't want to lose this length in the spine when you come into your forward bend. You want to keep that length. what I see sometimes is people just collapse forward, and that's not going to help your back. So again, it's the same thing in a different position. So go ahead and come into that half forward bend. And the closer that your feet get together, the deeper the stretch is for your hamstrings and your calves. That's why it's a good idea to start far apart like we did. So coming into this half forward bend, feeling that length in the spine, feeling that strength in the thighs as you root down through the feet. And wherever you are is perfect. So coming down, bringing the chest forward. Your spine will curve a little bit in this forward bend. The whole point is to just keep bringing your chest forward. So you're leading with your heart, your chest, not your head. It's a good metaphor for life, too. So you can place your hands on the floor if you'd like. The traditional placement is by the feet, fingertips in line with toe tips. And again, it's the same thing of, it's like you're pressing the floor of the mat away from you. And if that's not an option right now, don't worry about it. You can just hold on to your arms, or you can hold on to your legs. And you can even pull your legs a little bit to bring your chest forward. There's a lot of different ways you can do this safely and get that release in your hamstrings and your calves. So once you find a spot to linger, just keep bringing that chest down, balancing through your feet, letting that release happen in your legs. And your back is going to thank you later for doing these stretches for your legs. Remember your breath. Breathe into your abdomen. And lift the thighs. Use that strength in your legs. Press your feet to come out. So our legs are nice and warmed up, and it's time to open up the chest. So often when we spend a lot of time sitting, our upper back gets really tight. So the work on the legs is especially good for the low back. Anything you can do to open up your pectoral muscles and your chest is really going to help your upper back, and also neck stiffness. So just a simple way to, start to open is Tadasana with arms overhead. So Tadasana, mountain pose, rooting down through the feet, being aware of the legs, lifting the thighs, tucking the tailbone forward, and then bringing the arms overhead. So in this position, really feeling as much length as you can as you press through your feet and reach through your fingertips, tucking that tailbone forward. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this way. So you don't want to overarch your low back. You want to keep tucking your tailbone in as you reach. So first, getting that length. With any chest open or any back bend, you want to create the length in your spine before you bend. So just gently keep tucking your tailbone in as you reach back. Palms face together, they're about shoulder distance apart. Reaching through the fingertips, just gently warming up that upper back. And always tucking your tailbone in. If you start to feel pinching in your low back, it's a sign that you've maybe gone a little too far, or you're not working your thighs, tucking your tailbone in enough. So this time, we're gonna move a little bit deeper. So same thing, just check yourself, be aware of your feet. Tadasana. So this time, keeping the palms together, reaching, really feeling that length in the spine. And this time, interlace your fingers overhead, and you can use that as leverage to get more length on the sides of your torso too. And without losing anything, keep the length in your spine. You're gonna just bring your hands behind your head, supporting your head. And often, chest openers, back bends are very uncomfortable. Just because of that stiffness in the back. So just breathe through it. and trust that you're doing something really good for yourself, because you are. So from this position, you're gonna go ahead and keep tucking your tailbone in and just come back and release. And notice if you're, immediately starting to round your shoulders again. Really let this back bending teach you to keep your chest open, keep rolling your shoulders back. And back to center. So we're gonna go ahead and move into the hips. Our spine is nice and stretched. A lot of the times the hips can create tension in the low back, which can kind of travel up the back. So let's go ahead and just come to a seated position. And if you need to bend your knees in this position, that's fine. So just come into a seated position. And one way to make this stretch a little easier is to elevate the hips. So if you have blankets or towels at home, you can run and grab those. So this is such a, basic pose. It's super effective in opening up the hips. So just bringing the soles of the feet together. And a pose is never mechanical. You're always just finding a way to be in it a little more harmoniously. So just kind of walking yourself forward a little bit. Go ahead and find a position that works for you. Sometimes if the hips are really tight, the knees are going to be up. That's fine. So just wherever you are, find a spot where you can grab hold of your legs. So grabbing hold, you're going to create that length again, opening up the chest. And just remember to lead with your heart, lead with your chest. You're never just yanking your head forward. So just bringing that chest forward. And just like when we started, this is a great way to get a little deeper by pulling the floor towards you. So it's that feeling of pulling with your hands, really getting into those groins, that inner adductor area right there. And just coming forward, and it's not a rigid keeping your spine straight. You can let it curve a little bit. Just remember to keep bringing your chest down, lengthening your spine. This feels much different than if I were to just plop forward. I feel it a lot more in those muscles in here by leading with my chest, lengthening my spine. And remember to breathe. And coming out, go ahead and lift and lengthen again. And just a simple twist. So you can go ahead and just cross your legs like this and feel that length in your spine. You want to keep your hips even. You're just twisting your spine. So feeling rooted through your sit bone, rooting, lifting. So your forward hand is going to help you twist, and the back hand is going to support you keeping the spine long. So you're just going to reach back and place that hand and twist. I heard about 20 pops just now, so I think I need this one. So twisting and letting the head follow the chest again. And release. And then opposite side, forward hand helps twist, back hand helps press and keep the spine long. So you're just gonna press and twist. And head is just responding to the chest, it's not leading. You can hurt your neck if you try to yank your head back. And release. And from here, let's go ahead and move into downward facing dog. And we're gonna do this a little different in a way that opens up the chest and upper back a little more just by the placement of the hands. So let's go ahead and start. So I'm definitely a sucker for alignment in yoga. When you have proper alignment, it's just more therapeutic and it's safer. So with the hand placement, Go ahead and make sure your fingertips are aligned, and you're gonna point your forefinger forward and spreading your fingers wide. So wrists are just in front of shoulders and knees are just in back of hips. Feet are hip distance apart. So downward facing dog, if you have time for one pose and your back is sore, this is like the best pose you can do when you come home from work or whatever. So pressing the thighs back, pressing the palms, bringing the chest in towards those thighs. So I'm noticing that my feet aren't quite hip distance apart, so I'm just gonna move my feet around a little. You don't have to stay static in any pose. You can kind of adjust yourself. Just listen to your body. See if you need to make any adjustments. Pressing the palms, feeling that length in the spine. And so if your low back feels really stiff, you're just gonna keep pressing your palms and start to bend your knees. And that kind of eases the pressure on your low back. So keep pressing, keep the length. You don't just come forward like this. Nothing changes other than you're bending your knees, creating more space for your low back to release. And then pressing your thighs back. Remember to breathe. And coming down. And just rest for a minute. And we're gonna change our hand position this time, just so you can kind of tell the difference. So middle fingers forward this time. Spreading your fingers wide. Tucking the toes under. Pressing back into dog. So this time, we're gonna remind our thighs that they need to work to support our back. So instead of bending our knees, we're just gonna elevate the heels, keeping the length in the spine. And this is a pose that's a little more challenging, feeling the burn in your thighs, pressing the palms. So just notice how this pose feels different with this hand position, and you can decide for yourself what you like better. I prefer my forefingers forward because my upper back feels more open. And coming down and onto your knees. One of the best poses too for back stiffness is child's pose done in a certain way. So go ahead and just bring your big toes together and knees apart. And this is gonna be a more active version of child's pose. A lot of people think that this is only a resting pose, but it can be a lot more than that. So letting your tailbone descend towards your heels. If your hips are tight, then your hips might be up a little bit more, which is fine. So just keep descending your tailbone and walking your hands forward. And this is a great position to stretch out your rotator cuff, which can definitely contribute to upper back tightness. So in this position, you can rest your head on the floor if it's accessible, and if not, then don't worry about it. Wherever you are, I want you to keep walking your hands forward, creating as much space in your arms and spine as you can. So the key is pressing your inner palm here. This position feels a lot different if I'm just, doing whatever with my hands. So really pressing that inner area of the palm, wherever you are, if it's here, whatever. All the same. So from this position, to get a little deeper into that rotator cuff and upper back area, we're gonna just slide one hand by the knee And you're gonna start to walk your other hand over to the side as much as you can. Just so long as your arm is straight, you're not locking your elbow. There's that softness in your elbow as you press the palm. And you can rest your head if you'd like. It's really whatever feels best right now to you. Just be sure you're not tensing your neck. And you're gonna feel this in your rotator cuff all the way down to your low back possibly. It's gonna start in your rotator cuff. And just gently release an opposite side, bringing that other hand over. So really, it's all about pressing the palm, descending the tailbone, bringing that awareness to what you're doing. You can rest your head if you'd like. And you might feel this in your low back. I definitely do. Just feeling that stretch. And back to center. And just rest for a few breaths. Just relax your arms, relax your head. If you're not quite down to the floor, you can rest your head on your forearms. Or even here, so long as you're breathing and resting more than working hard at anything. Just a few breaths. So coming out of child's pose, you can come to a seated position. Those are some of the best poses you can do for overall back pain relief. So I just want to thank you for joining me today. If you like this video, please subscribe down below, and I hope that you have a great day.